I think we all know that in order to become a professional painter, all you really need to do is watch a couple of YouTube videos. All jokes aside here, stick with me. Not only am I going to show you how to get professional results painting your baseboards, I'm also going to uncover the startling truth about using Floetrol and cheap paint brushes. Now when it comes to painting baseboard, 87.5% is preparation, the other 12.5% is the actual painting. Now the first thing that I like to do, if you're a professional painter, close your eyes. This is going to sting a little bit. It's frog tape. Now I've painted miles and miles of baseboard just cutting it in with no tape, but I'll tell you what, if you're not on the brush every day, it's a pain in the butt. The delicate stuff is amazing. You can put that onto your painted wall. So the secret to pulling off frog tape and not damaging your wall is you don't want to pull it like this and take a whole strip off. What happens is that ends up pulling it straight out and you can tear off some of the drywall paper or paint that way. What you want to do is take the tape and pull it off like this. So yeah, before I start painting baseboards, first thing I do is I just tape off the area. Handy little tip, if you need to cut this frog tape and get a nice crispy clean square cut, just go ahead and use a little putty knife. You just stick it into the corner and rip it off. And once you got that all taped up, the next thing you want to do, if your baseboards are horribly dirty, you're going to want to give them a quick wipe off with some TSP solution. You just mix this with water. It'll take any of the grease or dirt off of them. Our baseboards are pretty good and you're going to be giving them a light sand. So if they're not bad, don't worry about washing the baseboards down. So after that, you want to go along and check out for any defects. If you have any minor defects, I like to just use Drydex. It dries really fast and it does a nice job. If you got any big damage, you're going to want to use a wood filler. If you need to rebuild part of the corner, check out my channel. I have a video on how I rebuilt this corner right here. Once your patches dry up, you want to give that a light sand. A sanding sponge works nice. If you have any real difficult areas, you might want to get some 120 grit hand sandpaper and really get in there. You can match the profile with the paper better this way, but most of the time I just use a sponge sander. So hit that with a light sand. Now the next thing you want to do, if there was a ton of sanding mess, you may want to get the vacuum out and just give that a quick vacuum. But most of the time there won't be much dust depending on the repairs. So take an old brush or a rag and just give the baseboards a wipe off. Onto the painting. I like to use a 2.5 inch angle brush. Any smaller is no good. The 3 inch is nice as well, but I find the 2.5 is the sweet spot. Now in terms of paint, I like to use a satin gloss latex trim paint, but the real secret to getting spray-like results is to add a bit of Floetrol. Now this is just a paint additive. You can get different ones, but I like the Floetrol. You put a little bit of this in there and the paint just levels out and flows beautifully. You can see the results here. Like this is brushed on with the same brush without Floetrol and with Floetrol, and you can just see the difference. It goes on a lot smoother, covers better, and you don't get nearly as many brush marks. If you want to grab some of this Floetrol, you can get it at most paint stores. I'll put a link in the description for Amazon. A quart costs about $15 Canadian. This quart will do about 5 to 6 cans of trim paint. So if you're just painting your house, this is gonna last you a couple lifetimes. So for the first coat, you want to make sure that you're getting enough paint on there. You don't want to put too much on there that it's going to start running everywhere. And you'll know you're not getting enough paint on there on that first coat. When you go to rebrush it and smooth it out a little bit, you'll start to feel some dry spots and the brush will start dragging. And then once you get that paint on there, say about 2 or 3 feet at a time, you'd want to go back over that and just rebrush it out. And then the nice thing about using the Floetrol is it levels out way better. The rebrushing is so much nicer. It's not going to stick and get tacky right away. So we'll go ahead and let that dry. It takes about 2 hours for this particular paint to dry. The baseboard's good and dry, you're almost there. Now is not the time to get lazy and ruin all your baseboard dreams. What you want to do now is just give it a super quick sand. And what you're doing is you're basically just looking, is there anything that dried into the paint, pet hairs, dust, anything that you can just quickly sand off. And as well, you're just scanning the baseboard to see if there's any areas that you've missed. Let that Drydex dry up, quick little sand, dust off, final coat. So you're on to the last coat. Go ahead and put that on nice and even. And then in addition to the Floetrol, in order to get top quality results, you're gonna wanna get yourself a nice brush. If you grab yourself a $2 brush from the dollar store, don't expect good results. If you take a look at this test piece here, this is a Worcester $20 brush down here at the bottom. This is just paint without Floetrol in it. You can see it's just a nice solid band, very little brush marks. The dollar store paintbrush, it's just streaks. It's not putting the paint on properly. So you get what you pay for brushes. And then my go-to brush for trim work is the 2.5 inch Worcester Silvertip. I got this off Amazon about a year ago. It's holding up beautifully. You can do some beautiful brush work with this brush. And hey, if you're fixing up your house right now, I've got the perfect playlist to help you out right here. So itchy.